July 17th at 11 a.m. We're on time this week. First thing on the agenda is approve the minutes on June 19th, 2023 regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. This time we'll turn it over old business to the surveyor, Mr. Shockley.
Okay, and the first thing on there is the, Denver, Georgia, 34 George and HB Gilbert Drain, one here in town. Runs two schools. We talked to you last month about a hearing. You wanted me to do a report, so, I put a report together, basically that the number 34 George and HB Gilbert Drain is in the watershed located in section 29 and 32 of Township 25 North, Range 2 West in the Woodland Township of Deer Creek. Basically from the maps, we've got about 255 acres, almost 256 acres. Benefited, total of 4,403 foot of tile and about 350 foot of open ditch to be maintained. Basically, the current balance is, we've borrowed from the improvement funds, like total of $16,027.39. Our current rate is a quarter an acre and $5 for minimum for, which covers small parcels, so, we bring in basically, almost, or not even quite $1,600 a year, so at that rate, it's gonna take us well over, 10 years to get our money back, won't be just now, not include any future work. It was, it's my recommendation that we, put the drain on maintenance and set the assessment at $2 an acre with a $15 minimum, and that brings us in, closer to $4,900 a year, so a little over 3 years we'll have it back, and we can start getting more money and doing more repairs to it. With that, we need to set a hearing for August 21st. I think we kind of somewhat did at the last meeting, but I think everything was thing, 21st to 11:15, just to give you guys a few extra minutes in case the meeting runs over. So we can get notifications out to the property owners, and we gotta put an ad in the paper.
So we need a motion for that meeting? For the 21st of August?
With the rate of 2 an acre on routine,
So we have a motion
or 15
second for August 21st for, what's it called? Maintenance hearing
increase.
for increase at 11:15. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And with that, we'll move on to the GIS. I reported to you last month, about trying to do the editing on that GIS for the drainage layer, and we had, we'll get to possibly how we can get it funded and whatever, we can do a stipend like we did for our drain, or maintenance on our drains or whatever, doing watersheds or whatever. I'll turn it over again to.
I've done some research on it. We were talking about possibly doing some kind of a user fee. We cannot do that, cannot justify doing a user fee. I checked in, how Clinton County's doing there. They have a GIS technician, dedicated GIS technician, and asked how they fund his salary. And his salary comes from a combination of the general fund and the platform fund. And, that's how they do it. I've asked him to send me his job description, and they had just, were in process of redoing his job description, so we have that. So I suggested to Ronnie that, we probably need to try to get ahead of this. If Lauren were to move on, you know, we really need somebody that can do that. And that stuff's pretty technical anymore, the GIS, so you need somebody that's trained. So, I think, you did put some money in the budget for a contract out for,
Yes,
Schneider to do some of this work initially.
Yeah, they can do, they figured about a half a day a month, they call it, and that's right at just a little over $7,000, so. When they told me we could do the other thing, I went ahead and stuck it in my budget.
For the year?
For the year, yeah, 7,000 for the year, but, I mean,
That's
it's.
a lot of money for a half a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's close, so 48 hours, 50 hours, yeah, it's about $150 an hour, which is about what, engineering firms are charging to do reviews of plans and stuff like that too, so, I mean, it's not way out of line, but yet, I mean, they can get, you know, in their 4 hours, they can probably get done what I've tried to do in about 20 hours or something, you know? I mean, just, I was constantly struggling with it, trying to figure it out, so, I just, it's time consuming, and you can't be interrupted while you're trying to do it, you have to go back to the beginning and start all over again if you lose your place, and so that's why I just stuck it in the budget for now, but that kinda gets us in the door. We can always expand to a day, which would be, I think they said around 14,000, we'll basically double what we're paying now. If we end up bringing in, like, Lauren was to leave, and they need to do splits, and she does all the area plan updates for the zoning and floodplain and all that stuff too for us, so, I mean, that would give her something to do there, and plus, down the road, we do have a layer on our site that's dedicated for section corners surveying, but at this point, we don't have enough to get on there, but eventually down the road, it could be, that's something that needs to be added on to it too, so that would be another place where we need some time to have stuff put on the computer.
You might want to take the additional step of researching, and this would be done by Irwin's firm, what counties are doing for GIS now. They have, a lot of them I know have a position, and instead of paying out engineering firms rates for it, it might be better to have somebody in-house that would do all of that for all of the departments. So if you wanted to explore that, it'd be, I suppose, the commissioner's thing to ask the urban firm to give you a potential job description for a GIS technician position, and they would do a salary survey. You know, they determine what these positions are paid all over the state, and so you got some basis for comparison.
But they're over 50 to 60,000 for that position.
Don't know, you know. I
That's
don't
a
know.
lot of training.
So, I think it's better to be prepared and have a description in a way and have an idea of the cost. And in the meantime, you may have to fill in, you know, with contracted engineers doing some of this work.
Where do you find somebody that could be in-house?
Well, I mean, it's a growing
It's a
profession.
degree, it's a college
GIS
degree.
is,
I mean,
GIS is, you know, exploding, you know, so, you go online and advertise for some, the position, post position and see what you get. I mean, that would require council's involvement, obviously, too, but, you could begin the legwork, you know, by getting together what would be an appropriate job description for this county of this size with these needs, you know, and so that you could have an answer for the council that they, you know, well, what would this person do, and how does it compare to what we can do by contracting this work out to somebody to come in and do it on a temporary basis or a permanent basis, whatever. I would think that, you know, I don't know how it would compare, 7,000 for an hour, how much is it?
4 hours a month.
4 hours a month.
Depends on how fast they can work in that 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, once say, I got a few right now that's been building for the last several years, we've been waiting on this to get to the point of where we can do new ones. But, I mean, once we get done with that, I mean, you'll, maybe have 1 or 2 a year, and then some edits to the others, Cause like I say, I mean, like Snyder done theirs, they give it to me and they show the old maps, or the new maps that they done for us. There's a lot of them that change drastically, well, it's because they didn't know there was a pipe under the road here. So I got drive in changes and mark all the pipes and then they go back and do an edit and it'll change it again to make it more closer to what it probably should really be, so. So I mean, it's like trying to get them involved, that's just, I mean, it's, it'd be better to have somebody on site, cause I mean, they could work closer with the surveyor and, I mean, we could go out together and check them, so make sure that, you know, they can draw on their maps and know what they're doing, so, but we can hopefully, I mean, that's up to them, council, you guys, I guess, how to do that.
Well, I've tried to get somebody like that myself, council, and I've always wanted to support it.
Yeah, I tried a couple times back in the beginning, but it was kind of, council was not.
What other offices would they look for besides you?
They would work for area plan, for zoning, the floodplain maps, because whenever the state does an edit to them, they can get them on and get them in place. Then all the splits that are done, you have to redo the parcels and all that stuff on the computer, that's all through them. I don't know if there's any work that the auditor's office is doing now on that or not. But it'd be a contact place if somebody comes in wanting, I mean, like Warren there's so many things you can do with it. I just had the ditch spraying people getting ready, they wanted to know where all the ditches were that they were spraying, like on a county map. So me and Warren went in and we sit down, and these are the drains they're doing, printed a map 36 by 36, it has just the 20 drains they're doing. So it made it look a lot better than, I mean, you can just do so much like that, and people from the outside are coming in constantly wanting stuff like that. And that would be a place to, if somebody's in-house, they can just go right to them and they can do with it. And we can hook up, anybody in this courthouse can remote into that printer in the assessor's office now. And print the big maps off like that, or the small ones they can print. Some people just want their property, what an aerial looks like, and then they charge
for that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of work. I know we got a lot of issues on the river and stuff that when they laid the stuff out back in the day, now they got aerials that's overlaying, there's a lot of stuff that's off. And a lot of it's just the plats themselves, the lines need to be adjusted, be corrected, like off the section corners and stuff. And that could, I mean, Lauren says she's got like one addition up there along the river that she could probably dedicate, 30 or 40 hours, you're just trying to get that correct. Cause I mean, it looks like everybody's house is sitting on somebody else's lot. So, it just, just getting corrections and updates to that to make it better user friendly for the people.
And I think that's something that needs to be fixed.
So,
The highways, so.
the highway is on WTH.
I know, but do they do that too, or?
I'm not sure, I think so, I mean, I know like area plans on WTH, cause he signs the addresses and 911. Them two have to, evidently Snyder does an offer or something with the 911, it's not compatible or something. And, but I think like the culverts, and I think they can do all that on there. I mean, I wouldn't see why not, they can make a layer for it, I mean, you have to.
I'll be right.
Yeah, you could, it could be called culverts, and then they could go in and they could label every culvert in the county, and they could click on it when it was done, when it was last replaced, I mean, all that stuff. That's what we do in WTH now, comes in that, when it's highway. Whenever I replaced a culvert, I had to go in and put in the date, we put the new pipe in, what size it was, length it was, and everything else, so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, I mean, it's getting to be more and more used, every time I turn around, somebody's coming in, well, here, I got it up on Beacon right here, but they don't know how to use a lot of tools to get the edits and stuff, and printers and stuff, and people don't have that access to big printers, and so, there's a lot of stuff that could be beneficial to the people, to the public, just by having access to where they can come in and talk to somebody about stuff like that.
How do you label culverts? How do you put a name on them or a number on them?
It's mainly a number, I think the culverts are numbered by, they had it when they did them in the, and of course,
So
we
where
did that.
bridges are numbered?
Well, like on that map right there, there'd be a square, and then there's one circles, one squares, one's bridge, one's culvert type thing, and it's got a number assigned to it, and that's how they do the inspection, they can pull up the inventory, it has an actual number assigned to it, I think. So, that it gives all the details of it, then they're written their reports, but, I mean, this here would just be like a highway, if they pull up on a site and there's a sinkhole there, they can type it in and see when it was last put in or whatever, if it's been replaced in the last 20, 30 years or whatever. And then, like I say, they do all the signs over there, at the highway too, they got, I mean, when they done all the updates to the new signs, we got that grant or whatever. I was in part of it, and then there was another crew that we constantly went around just implementing the signs, but what all the signs were in the county, and pinpoint, I mean, we had a GPS bucking that they put it right on the map right where it was at, and so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be done with it, I mean, just depends on what we wanna do, and give our public, I guess.
Talking about a full-time position, possibly.
Well, I'm guessing, I mean, to be somebody that's college educated, and, I mean, it's gonna be hard to find somebody to do a part-time, I would say.
Just so much contracts, so county.
Yeah. And that's, well, the, Pastoral Run Conservancy, they've actually got a layer on there that they pay,
Yeah, think about it.
they can, pay so much, I'm not sure if they pay Lauren or pay somebody, that they can do edits to them too, so, I mean, it's, anything we got a layer on that we could get, I mean, of course now, I mean, we got Delphi that's broke off from area plan, so any changes they wanna make, should they help pay for something to be updated on our maps, you know, I don't know.
I was thinking they should have their own GIS
Their own
person,
GIS?
but just to Delphi.
Well, this is a county one of those, so if we do anything inside the city limits, or if we just block it out like we do before,
Right. Well, it's something we need to, some job description for, and through the commissioners area. We can put that on the next, isn't it?
yeah, she's kind of be like I said, the Lauren gets in there, hers is even more detailed than mine with all the coordinates and the internet, you gotta keep going, and you miss a step in there, it makes the map look wrong, and so you gotta have quiet and stuff like that too, so. Alright, but we'll leave it at that, we'll move on to new business. Then we had, 3 work orders this last month, number 3322 is number 114, branch 1 Sugar Creek, Madison Township, it's on the 400 South in Enclave. We actually had a bunch of small trees, a farmer, years back, we had a tile run under the road and went a couple hundred feet to an open ditch. Well, it's time, the highway was wanting to replace the big culvert under the road anyway, our tile was underneath it, and it was not having enough cover really between the two. So what we done is we ended the tile before the bridge, they put our new culvert they put in, and then we just made an open ditch to the rest of the way, a couple hundred feet, and, it's been done, I don't know, probably 6 or 7, 8 years now, and just a lot of little saplings growing up in the open ditch around the bridge, that culvert and stuff, so we, had a crew go in and take a saw and cut a bunch of them down, we're gonna spray it with, when they come in to do that, so. Then the other one's, number 3422, number 69 Harry Down, that's over Washington Township, south of 600 north, not 60 north, but, and then between, 575 east and 600 east, it's a tile we just put on maintenance a few years ago, and it had a sinkhole in it, and we're building money in that right now, trying to get it to the point of replacing starting at the outlet and working our way back, to here by the older farms, that everybody uses, so it's a 15-inch, I think, tile, goes a bit smaller, but it's a, Cody Newer right there, that open ditch there at 575 east and, it's 575 north, I think. Yeah, but I have a work order out on that, Alan Geyser, he's supposed to be, he called last week, he was gonna get it done, so I'm assuming it's already done, but, I just haven't got the bill in yet. 35 number 114, Branch 1 Sugar Creek, Madison Township again, basically same location as the last one, but from 400 south, going clear south through the town there's, I probably counted, I don't know, probably 60 or 80 tile holes, little suck holes or whatever. I think the tile's getting in that bad shape. We replaced a bunch further south. I marked it out, it's right at 1,000 foot, so we're trying to look at, seeing about getting that fixed. It's, the highway's looking at putting in a new structure. I think on the south end, there's a road there that, I guess the buses can't go across now, because it's not rated for weight. So we're hope, I got a call into them, they're supposed to be working with me, trying to let me know when they're gonna do that, so we can place underneath at the same time, and not have two road cuts there at the same area, so. It basically goes right underneath that box culvert they got there.
Do we have a bridge replacement coming up there?
Well, it's just a small little, I mean, it's not any longer than this table. I mean, it's just a,
Culvert?
yeah, well, it's, I'm not sure if it's a culvert or it might be, I mean, it's just basically got I-beams in it with concrete over the top of it, just a little stretch of it, it's not nothing real. I think they're gonna replace it with a culvert, but or some kind of structure there, so. I'm not sure, I just let them know so when we work in cahoots there and get it done at the same time, so. We can go in and they tear it out, and we can replace our tile, and then they can put theirs in. We'll work to where we can keep it off to the side just a little bit too, so it's not right underneath like the block old ones. So, that one will be done, hopefully, we'll see. I mean, we got most of the money, I think we got enough money to do most of that. It's 24 inch part of the way, and it goes down to 18 inch too, so, so hopefully get that done this. I'm not sure yet, I haven't even contracted a contractor yet, so that is one of the, look, I wanted to get the footage, I went out and put some flags in just to kind of, one of the bigger ones were at, there was a lot of small ones, and there was some that was, you know, baseball or basketball size, and I mean, you can look down in there quite a way, you know, it's going to that tile, so. We've done a few repairs there in the last couple of years as well. Next thing is spring settlement, so you know, we did get settlement from the auditor's office, and Beth has been working hard getting, she got it all entered into our books, and we're in the process of getting ready to put the money back in the improvement fund. That we got back from the ones that borrowed from it, so next month we'll have a better update on that, what we paid back and everything. And then I did forget, ditch spraying, they contacted me Friday, they're starting hopefully either this Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the weather, to spray those, so.
Have you get the map after?
Yeah, you can come and look at it, see what, yeah, I got a list too, it's like, I think it's actually 21 drains we're spraying. So, there's, some of them are long, some of them are, a couple of them are like 350 feet or 400 feet, so. But with that, mileage for the month of June, at 318. Money collected for the month of June, $375, and for the year is $2,025. Next drainage board meetings, the 21st of August,
Plus the maintenance during 11/15, from yours, NHB, great increase.
the letters all mailed out this week. If you announcement by the paper, get it to them, give it there, the 7th, I think, of August, so it has to be 10 days before the hearing, so in the paper.
Is anything from the public? News media?
Time to go.
Time to go.